Mbeje is at that meeting, and we're live to him now in New Delhi. Good afternoon, Mzwai. Are you with us?
A very good afternoon, Krishna.
Mzwai, this is Prime Minister Modi's biggest diplomatic outreach involving delegates from the largest number of African nations thus far. Take us through the program for the next day or so.
Thank you very much, Krishna. As you've indicated, African leaders have arrived. The heads of state and government, my last count was over 30 that have arrived. I'm not necessarily talking about representatives which are representing government that have not been able to send their leaders. So they are here, as you have indicated there in your intro, to really scale up trade between the continent of Africa and India. And you know that these two combined constitute something like 2.3 billion people. So that's a huge market. So if then you tap into that market, clearly there will be a lot of gains for both peoples of these continents and the country. So what is happening now is that our president, for example, arrived this morning, and he wasted no time. As soon as he arrived, he met the captains of industry from this country. Trade between South Africa and India has gone down a bit from the highs of 2011, where it was about 15.8 billion US dollars. It's now standing at around 11.8 billion dollars. So what they're trying to do is that that situation, that picture needs to change. But that picture also needs to change in the context of pushing the African agenda. That is why you have the largest gathering that you've mentioned that is happening here. So we expect that tomorrow the show begins, and then the Prime Minister here, Narendra Modi, is going to be inviting and then welcoming the guests. And then the guests who are leaders from the African continent will actually be telling their story. Africa wants to industrialize. And then India, we know, is very advanced when it relates to issues of ICT, something that really lacks on the African continent. And our continent is by and large undeveloped. So this is the opportunity really for these two countries, or rather this continent and this country, to really develop.
This is India's biggest summit with Africa ever, Mzwai, and it is somewhat of a challenge to China's dominance on the continent. How keenly is India seeking more of a development partnership with Africa, and one that's not just solely based on transactional and exploitative kind of relationship, Mzwai?
You know what the Indians are saying is that their relationship with Africa is different from how, as the continent relates to the West, so which means your Europe and your America. And the way they relate to Africa is also different to how the African continent relates to China. So what the Indian government or Indian representatives are saying is that what they want to do is to build partnerships with the continent and look at the issues that really would impact positively on both people. So as I was talking about the ICT, given that Africa is really still needs a lot of development to happen, and then India has advanced in some way or the other relating to that. Yes. So they want to partner with various stakeholders from the African continent. I mean, you know that we are now focusing on knowledge-based economy.
Mzwai,
that is really the key driver of the economy.
All right, Mzwai, very quickly, before we wrap it up, we know invites extended to all 54 African nations. One controversial one, of course, went out to Sudanese President Omar al-Bashir, who's wanted by the ICC. But we know that India has never been a signatory to the Rome Statute. Any sign of Bashir yet? Is he in attendance?
We have just confirmed the attendance of the leaders from the African continent, and I can tell you that on the list of speakers tomorrow, President al-Bashir of Sudan is definitely going to be one of them. So we haven't seen him yet, but in terms of the confirmation here, that President al-Bashir is definitely going to be one of the people who will be attending.
Thank you. That was Mzwai Mbeje.